The final Bitcoin wave is about to begin, and the beginning of this final Bitcoin wave, like the beginning to an end, is going to take place as soon as we can break above the resistance of the bull flag that is forming on the daily and 4 hourly timeframes. Now, I'm not going to waste your time going into all the reasons why we think Bitcoin is bullish, i.e., go into the inverse head and shoulder, the Bitcoin parabola continuation on the weekly time frame, this massive inverse head and shoulder, so on and so forth. We're not going to talk about those on today's video. However, I do want to talk about a couple of other things, including the Bitcoin CME gap, which everybody forgot about and is still there at 106.3 thousand dollars, and also some breaking news regarding Solana will also be shared here on today's video. So if those two sounds interesting to you, then make sure to destroy the like button and subscribe to become a crypto kid, guys, because we do daily videos covering everything in the cryptocurrency markets that you need to know to make as much money as possible. And with that said, if you've destroyed the like button and subscribed to become a crypto kid, then we can jump into today's content. But before we do so, let's have a look at what we're doing with our positions over on weeks. So what did I do today? I did a couple of changes in the sense that I put some limit orders to buy a bit more Bitcoin if Bitcoin is to, like we said on the previous video, come down and retest the support line of this bull flag, because it is very much possible that Bitcoin faces a rejection here and comes down to the support line of the bull flag before heading back to the upside and then seeing its breakout. So one more shakeout is possible before we see that major breakout, taking us into the $140,000 to $130,000 region incredibly soon. And I'm expecting $130,000 Bitcoin by August to September of this year. So buckle up. It's going to happen. It will likely happen, at least in my opinion. And we will see a 130 to 140K Bitcoin. And after that, it's not so clear what we're going to see. So this could be one of your final chances to try and make as much Bitcoin money as possible. And then we will rotate into altcoins, of course. So if you want to make money from Bitcoin, what I would be looking into doing is, like I said on previous videos, accumulating as many Bitcoin long positions as possible. That's what we did over here between 77 and 87.5 over on weeks, which you can sign up to using the first link down in the description below. We accumulated and DC'd into long positions as much as we could to try and get a good entry. And I think the same sort of entry opportunity is being made right here with this Bitcoin bull flag. So if you want to jump into positions, first of all, I would be in a position already with a market long order, which you can set over on weeks. What I would do is consider starting with 5x leverage. Then as soon as we start breaking out here from the bull flag, from the inverse head and shoulders, then you can increase your leverage and potentially add more margin if you wish to do so when we get that confirmation of breakout. But so far, you can DC in with a market position, and I put two limit orders. So I put one limit order at 105.865, which you can also set here over on weeks. And I put another one at 103.555. So in case Bitcoin does decide to see a drop and do get rejected from this resistance, then we will be DCing into those long positions. But I would definitely be in the market rather than outside of the market, just in case we see that huge break to the upside. So that's Bitcoin. The picture is the same. Worst case, we see that drop to 100K and then we continue pumping, or alternatively, and very likely we see this continuation and we follow the M2 money supply within the upcoming few weeks. And very scarily though, by the way, Bitcoin could definitely see this correction, and I'm trying to emphasize more on it so that you're not scared if we see a drop. It's not going to mean that Bitcoin is over and that the double top is going to mean play again. That's nonsense. That will be a thing to explore if we drop below 99, which I don't think will happen. But we can definitely see a drop, because if you notice here on the M2 money supply, with an 84-day delay, you do see a bit of a drop before a continuation. So that could happen. And if it does, please do not worry. So that is Bitcoin. When we go into the altcoin market today, the altcoins are doing fine, which is good news. There is a Bitcoin CME gap at 106.3 though. So another limit order that you can potentially add into those other two limit positions would be an order at 106.4, because there is a discrepancy between the CME price and the spot price. We could likely come down and fill this CME gap right over there that was created apparently on Wednesday, the 25th of June. It wasn't a weekend gap. That's why we didn't notice it. But it was a gap created within, it looks like, the trading day. And that could very much fill. It doesn't have to fill, but if we do see a drop, then I think that's a good place anyways to be, DCing in. So you could consider opening another position at 106.4 over on weeks. Today is the final day of Q2. So we're ending Q2 And the year is, by the way, 50% done, which is insane. It's kind of unbelievable to think about. But the year is halfway done, and Q2 is coming to an end. Bitcoin closes Q2, hopefully above 30% in the green. And you can see that in previous bull markets. So this was basically where we were Q2. Then Q1 of 2021 was good. Q2 was bad. So in 2021, in the previous bull markets, Q1 did 103% for Bitcoin. And then Q2 was negative. And then we saw Q3 and Q4 end off positively, and then we entered into a bear market. Obviously, the entirety of 2022 was negative for Bitcoin. So because we did a, look, this is a bit of a delayed cycle or an early cycle because of the ETFs. So if we put that into picture, then we can figure this out. So because of the ETFs, right? And I'm just thinking about this for the first time. So we need to figure this out together here. So this is 2021, all right? We basically created an all-time high a quarter earlier than what we should have done, right? So technically, because we've done that, we are front running this a little bit, but then it doesn't make sense because 2021, you see, yeah. So, okay, look, Q3 could be a bit rough, but I think Q4 will end in the positive. I think August, actually, we'll probably see an incline in August due to the money supply and all the other breakouts. So actually, I think Q3 will do fine. And then Q4 should do fine. But then Q1, there we go. So in Q1 of 2026 can be a negative, and then we enter into potentially a massive drawdown for Bitcoin throughout 2026, and then altcoins can see a bit more of a push. But that's it. I mean, that's likely going to be the end of the Bitcoin bull market. But in terms of what other important stuff is going on in crypto, in the past 24 hours, Metaplanet has bought another 1,000 Bitcoin, surpassing the amount of Bitcoin that Michael Saylor bought. So Saylor bought $530 million, whereas Metaplanet purchased approximately $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. But to the guy saying, okay, you know what? Metaplanet is king now and Saylor is falling behind. The truth is, Saylor has $64 billion worth of Bitcoin. That equates to 600,000 Bitcoin, whereas only Metaplanet owns currently 13,350 Bitcoin. So Metaplanet managed to rise to the 5th position in terms of top public Bitcoin treasury companies. And the gap between first place and second place is like a 10x already, even more so than a 10x. But still impressive for Metaplanet. I mean, they were just a small, dead, hotel chain in Japan, and they managed to accumulate massive amounts of Bitcoin. So it's very, very impressive. But the gap is very far. And I don't think Metaplanet will reach Saylor anytime, or probably never. Tomorrow we have the Fed Chair Powell speaking, not so important. We have the big, beautiful bill being voted as we speak at the moment. Apparently there's going to be a clause that tries to prevent capital gains taxes on cryptocurrencies. That would be absolutely huge. Like, that will be bigger than huge. So let's hope that happens. People are estimating that $3.3 trillion will be added to the US national debt if we see the big, beautiful bill passing, which is not good. And then we have some news about Fed Chair Powell. President Trump, again, said some very bad things about Powell. And it looks like Scott Bessent could be replacing Fed Chair Powell going into Q1 of 2026. That means we're going to get a massive rate cut, and that will explode your favorite altcoins. So altcoins like Solana, I would be definitely considering to buy. Altcoins like AVAX is near 2022, 2023 bear market lows. Microcaps that I'm looking into, like Medieval Empires, are below its seed price, like its pre-public IPO price. It's below that price with no lockup, which is unbelievable because they have a beautiful functioning product. The game, there's a mobile version of the game being developed. It's a utility coin. So there's like so many altcoins that are so cheap at the moment that I would be scooping up as much as I possibly can, because when this altcoin season happens, that's where you're likely going to make most of your money. And before I end off this video, I need to quickly mention the S&P 500 hitting a brand new all-time high. If we didn't speak, we may have spoken about it already, but I'm just confused with all the content that we make. So if I didn't mention it, then the S&P made a beautiful new all-time high, preventing a macro downtrend. So even if the S&P sees a bit of a correction here, it wouldn't really matter because you would be creating a lower high. You wouldn't be creating a lower low. The macro uptrend would still be intact because you now created a brand new all-time high. So if we see a bit of a rejection here from the S&P, Bitcoin would follow, but it would only be short term because the overall trend is now confirmed to be bullish. And it's a fantastic thing that the S&P managed to create this all-time high here, because I think it will be a massive catalyst and a massive factor to say that, Bitcoin, at least in the next few weeks, will likely continue heading up, which is what I believe will take place. So guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, guys, I'll see you all on tomorrow's video. So take care and bye-bye.